edition of Figure Depot. Today we're taking a look at the Hulk or She-Hulk figure from the Super Skrull Build-A-Figure line from Hasbro Marvel Legends. This was billed as a spring 2020 release, but is hitting here late December. So very excited to have this figure in hand. I'm going to be getting a couple more and customizing them and giving one to my little girl who's a Marvel Legends collector. So anyway, this is the first one to make it here, so we're gonna get her open and check her out. No spot varnish on the top, which we would normally see with figures. You can see her in the package there with her Build-A-Figure pieces for the Super Skrull, and then the alternate hands. We get the Hulk logo at the bottom in Hasbro. We get some cool artwork on the side, little bio on the back, the other figures in the line, and then if you're trying to find her, there's your barcode. Happy hunting. Alright, let's get her open and see what's inside. Alright, here she is out of the package, and the articulation on this thing is wild. I don't recall, especially not a female figure, that could get in this kind of pose in anything we've seen from Marvel Legends in quite some time. That she could squat down like that and be so balanced is just incredible, and no pun intended, Incredible Hulk. But yeah, wow. So loving the sculpt on this. When I first saw the promo images for this back at Comic-Con, I was kind of disappointed. I was like, man, I really want an updated classic green She-Hulk. The Savage She-Hulk would be awesome from that first run of comics, and thought that would be great, or I would even settle for kind of this look back over here, you know, but just an updated version. And then they gave us this one, which is a newer, you know, concept and not as popular, but you know, all that has been put to rest. Having this figure in hand, it's just absolutely incredible. Just a stunning sculpt. The face sculpt is beautiful. The hair is amazing. The musculature on the figure is really awesome. Looks fantastic. Couldn't be happier with this particular figure. I feel confident that they will eventually give us an updated classic, you know, green She-Hulk, either in the A-Force costume, or I would love a Savage She-Hulk, kind of a re-release of their first attempt from way back when with the Fin Fang Foom wave. That would be great to see that figure with today's articulation and today's sculpting and technology and paint apps and everything. But very, very glad to have this. The more and more I look at it, the more and more it grows on me overall, and there's just one thing about this figure that drives me bonkers, and we'll get into that whenever we get a closer look at the figure. But until then, yeah, just at first glance, she's absolutely awesome, and very stoked to have her finally. Alright, so getting a closer look at the figure, we can see this awesome head sculpt. Looks very cool. There's one strand of hair that kind of brushes over the face, but you can pull it back, get it out of the way to just kind of see what the figure looks like. And she looks really nice. Really beautiful sculpt there. The paintwork on mine is nice and clean, and just looks really cool. The little green stripe there across the nose, and she's got them all over the place, little scars, and light bursts kind of through them is kind of the impression that I got reading through the comics. It's like gamma radiation just bursting through her skin, kind of. It's kind of what I derived from looking at it. So if someone knows better, please feel free to comment below. But very cool sculpt, very nice detail. Got the texture in the jeans, and I don't know why they put the serial numbers so visible on the legs all the time. I mean, hide that stuff on the bottom. It does have peg holes, if you were wondering. But really cool sculpt there with the jeans. It does have a very shiny finish, which is a little perplexing to me. But yeah, the muscles in the back look really cool. Really nice detail there. Nice muscular arms, shirt's all tattered. And to be as ripped up and torn up as her clothes are, she still has a very modest look, which is something I appreciate. That anytime they can make a figure look feminine but still modest, I think that's a very good thing. Looking at the Savage She-Hulk, they were obviously not going for modest on that one. But looking here at this one, she still looks very feminine, looks very nice, but you know, she's covered up, so I appreciate that. But anyway, we'll get into the articulation real quick and then do some size comparisons. Alright, so for articulation, the head is on a ball peg with a disc hinge, so she can look down very far. She can look up pretty good. She's not going to look much farther than that, just because the thickness of the hair makes the sculpt very hard. The thinner it gets, the more pliable it is, but the farther you get here with this thicker area, you're going to have a hard time moving it. It's less and less dexterous. So, but it will rotate around 360, of course. So, and the arms move up really nice. So very dynamic there. We do get a bicep swivel here at the forearm, single jointed elbows, and they won't give us double jointed elbows because they say that it doesn't look pretty, and then they put this massive notch or spike or chunky thing, whatever that is, right there in the middle of the forearm. So I'm not sure how that's better, but I'm going to get an X-Acto knife and slice that bad boy out, so I'll probably show you all that towards the end of the video. That's my plan anyway, unless I forget. But with that, you do get pretty decent range of motion, about a 45 instead of getting stuck at 90, which is what we get on a lot of figures. So we do get a swivel and hinge there at the wrists. We do get legs that kick very nice and high. Get our diaphragm joint, and she will bend quite a bit from side to side, so really good range of motion out of that diaphragm joint. She will bend back very far, which helps her looking up posture. And then she will look down just a hair, but she bends her head so far forward that it kind of makes it less necessary. We do not get a waist swivel. We do get a thigh cut, double jointed knees, and then our toes will point very far forward and they'll come up very far, which is why she was able to squat so well in that first pose I had her in. And then of course we get our ankle pivot. So really, really awesome. Let's look at some size comparisons real quick. Alright, and here she is next to the A-Force She-Hulk, and you can see she's taller than her by probably a good 1/8 of an inch. And then here's the Blobwave She-Hulk, and they're at their head height, they're almost identical. I think the lower legs of this one are a little bit longer, but the upper legs are shorter. And then her lower torso is longer but shorter. Her lower torso is shorter, but her upper torso is longer. So by the time you get back up to head height, they're essentially the same height. So very glad that they didn't undersize her. I still think they could have made her just a hair bigger, but not gonna complain. Still think it's fine for what we've got, and still very excited about this figure. So here she is next to Black Widow and the original Savage She-Hulk release, which was the first She-Hulk we ever got from Hasbro. As I mentioned previously, back in the Fin Fang Foom Wave. And if we could get this She-Hulk with this updated buck and articulation, that would be awesome to see. Would love to have that figure. And anyway, you can see how much bigger she is than this one. They definitely way undersized that first one when it came out. And then here she is, you know, next to a standard female figure from Marvel Legends. And you can see how much bigger she is. So definitely an improvement, definitely much better in terms of scale. Here she is next to the Gray Hulk, and you can see the gray on her is a bit more green, and the gray on him is more on the blue side. But they both have the torn shirt and the denim jeans. His was orange, so I just took the white one from the 2-pack Hulk over there and I stuck it on there. So you can kind of see a similar look for both of those. And I really like these two together. I do wish that they had done her gray, because in the comic that she's actually featured in, it is not this kind of dull, you know, almost military green, but a very, very light shade. It's actually more a true gray, and that really makes the green parts on her pop more. But for whatever reason, they went with like a greenish gray instead of how it appears in the comic, which is more like this, which is unfortunate. You can even tell from the box art on the box that she came in that it's more of a gray. Well, this lighting's not going to show it to you because yellow light, but anyway, when you see it in hand, you'll note the difference. But anyway, just a nitpick. Alright, and here she is next to Johnny Storm and Daredevil. It's a custom Daredevil I made. Kit bashing the Shadow Daredevil with the Defenders multi-pack release, Amazon exclusive. And this is just your Walgreens exclusive Johnny Storm from last year or early this year, I can't remember. And you can see how those compare to one another. Here she is next to an MCU Spider-Man from the Far From Home film, and with the Spider-Woman figure that I think was in the same wave, actually, of figures that was released this year. So you can kind of see, again, another standard female height versus the She-Hulk's height. Alright, and here she is next to Jessica Jones from the Netflix Daredevil series wave. And then we have our Mary Jane. And, you know, I think this would be a reasonable transformation. In the original comic, her hair's been all different kinds of colors throughout the comic runs, She-Hulk, but Jennifer Walters. But in the Savage She-Hulk, she was more of a brunette, kind of with just a hint of a red tint to it. So you could really do some shots with her transforming, because here she is in denim, and then the white could be like a tank top underneath this shirt she's wearing here. So conceivably, you could make this your Jennifer Walters transforming into She-Hulk, and that would be a somewhat congruent transformation. So I know most people are going to recognize this as Mary Jane and have a hard time with that, but you know, you can make it work. Alright, and here she is next to two suited male figures, and you can see she towers over them. So really good size with this She-Hulk, not bad at all. And one last quick comparison, she's even taller than our Venom from Marvel Legends, our recent releases of Venom. This is the first release, and then there was an Eddie Brock, which is using the same buck with an alternate Eddie Brock head. So anyway, she's even taller than he is by a good quarter to an eighth of an inch, probably a quarter inch, honestly. So not quite as beefy, but definitely taller. So there you go for your size comparisons. Now she does come with these two alternate hands. So fisted hands in the package, and then we get these open hands for gripping and grabbing things. And you can see they look really nice. Good sculpt. No paint work whatsoever, but the sculpt work is there. So that looks really nice. And then we have our standard scroll arm with no, powered up anything. And then we get the powered up version, which has the Invisible Woman's translucence, and then the Mr. Fantastic's stretchy powers kind of all rolled into one. Alright, so I went ahead, got my X-Acto knife out, and cut here. So when you bend this, now there's not a huge, nasty, random spike thing right there. I don't know why that's there, but it just looks awful. So I just carefully bent the arm in at an angle, cut up, and then cut down from here, and then pulled the notch out, and now we have a much more attractive, much smoother transition. So that looks about 1,000 times better. But anyway, if you're wanting to do that, that's how I did it. And I'm going to go through and sand that and smooth it back out. It's kind of a rough cut right now, but you get the idea. Already looks a whole lot better than that big chunk over there. Alright, well thank you so much for taking a look with me today at the Marvel Legends Super Skrull Build-A-Figure Wave She-Hulk action figure. This is a really awesome figure. Love the sculpt. Just a really great figure. Couldn't be happier with it. So dynamic. The posing is ridiculous. All the different poses you can get her in, and now that we've modified her forearms and cut off that ridiculous looking notch that supposedly looks better than a double jointed elbow, she is just all around looking great. If you like this figure, please comment below, let me know. If you don't like this figure, please let me know, and let me know what She-Hulk figure you would like to see them tackle next, now that we know they can do a really good figure. And please check out my Instagram. I'll have some photos up later over there. And like, share this video with people who might like to see it, and please subscribe if you're so inclined. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next video.